I want to thank this episode's sponsor, World of Warships. Hello, I'm Odin, and today I'm going to make the final accessory for the full suit Gundam cosplay. It's the XBR M7907G, the primary beam weapon of the RX-78-2 Gundam. Yeah, I know this weapon has a more standard name, but YouTube gets all picky and concerned when certain words get said out loud. First thing I did was disassemble the real grade size model of the weapon and measured all the parts and pieces so I can make one cosplay size that Joe can hold. So what I'm thinking about is, in order to scale the rifle in a way that's actually usable, because we could just go off like your waist height, but if we actually scale the grip to fit your hand in the glove, it'll be a lot easier to carry around.
Oh, kind of like the shield?
Yeah, just like the shield. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because the grip isn't terribly complicated, right?
Right. I can hold on to this pretty well.
You hold that pretty well?
Yeah, it's not...
So if the rise of the grip is about the same as the rise of this, because your fingers are missing everything here. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll just figure out what these are and then scale it up, and then we'll see how long that makes the overall rifle compared to your waist.
Sounds good.
All right. I measure the glue gun grip and get a scale, and start to change all the numbers for the parts that I need to make. It's going to take a moment to figure out all these measurements, so I've got a chance to tell you about this episode's sponsor. World of Warships is all about team-based sea battles that require different strategy and tactics, providing a diverse and exciting gameplay for everyone who plays the game. The game features over 300 historical ships that you can control in beautiful maps with living landscapes. This is really very cool. World of Warships now includes 4 iconic Transformers characters with unique ship skins and commanders. And I have 2 special codes just for new players. There's links right in the description. If you want to join forces with Megatron, then there's the code Decepticon. But if you're feeling a little more heroic, then there's another code, Autobot. Now both of these are going to unlock unique content, which includes premium ships, Transformers-themed camouflage, and commanding officers that are characters I think you'll recognize. These codes are only for a limited time, so you kind of need to hurry up. There was never a better time to try the game than right now. New thematic content and innovative game modes are being added constantly. If you can't tell from this right here, it's kind of cool. So make sure to keep up with World of Warships, because this game is going to be a lot of fun. I want to say thank you to World of Warships for helping to sponsor my channel, but you can help too. Just click the links in the description and decide if you want to be a Decepticon or an Autobot. I think you know which decision I made. But honestly, if you click the links, you'll really be helping my channel, and thank you very much. So I've done a lot of measuring. I pre-measured a lot of the parts on the actual model pieces, and we decided on a scale, and we printed out what we thought we wanted, a full size. We ended up getting a beam rifle of this size, which is really, really good. This is almost exactly the right scale to go with the shield. This is a pretty good size scale to kind of fit just the blown up version of the model. But then this is too big for Joe's gloved hand. So we scaled it back a little. This is the perfect size for Joe to be able to hold on to while wearing the glove. And so we got a really good cosplay scale for the beam rifle. And I think what I want to do first is work on the grip itself, because that's going to be the part everything's going to be held off of anyway. So if I make the grip and a good portion of this piece out of sintra, it'll actually support everything else. And to make that easily, I scanned and enlarged the actual model part. So this is actually the piece that is inside the model. This piece here is this piece here, but scanned and enlarged. So I'm going to trace this onto some of the thick 6mm sintra. I can cut out 3 different layers, glue it together, and I'll have the grip and trigger guard for the beam rifle. I traced the profile of the full-size piece onto some sintra or foamed PVC sheet 3 times. The thickness of the grip is very close to 3 layers of sintra. Then I cut all the parts out with my bandsaw. So I realized that it wasn't just the 3 layers that made up the grip. That was what I was really focused on, was the amount that I needed to make the grip right. That in order to make the rest of the gun fit kind of the way it's supposed to, I need to have 1 more layer of the thin stuff on either side. And that'll get it up to almost being an inch thick, and that's actually what it scales up to from this part. So I'm still kind of scaling up parts. I'm only doing the details that you'll actually see in the finished build because there's a lot more detail on the actual model kit, because that's what they do. But I'll include what I need so we can see what we can see when we're done. The 6mm thick sintra is difficult to cut with a hobby knife, but the thin 3mm sheet is easy enough to cut. It's kind of hard to see, but some of these inside curves, I'm just going to use a little round rat tail file to create those curves instead of trying to cut it with a knife. I continue to cut and file and sand all the layers, making the edges clean and ready to be glued. There we go. Well, I need to sand some of the edges and then I can glue it together. I use my 1-inch belt sander to make a 45-degree angle on the outer grip layers. There are places I could not reach with the sander, but I can use a grinding stone on a rotary tool to get the rest. One of the details I added was a peg that sits on the grip. On a real grade Gundam model, this peg would flip out and then stick into the Gundam's hand. Oddly enough, Joe didn't want to do that, but a piece of 1/2-inch PVC pipe should look right. That'll be fine. That's great. Totally happy with that. Sintra plastic is PVC. I can glue it together with the same cement that you would use for sprinkler systems. This cement sets quickly, which is nice. Not bad. After the cement has dried, I use a flat file to really smooth out the sanded sides. I cut out a hint of a trigger from some 3mm sintra and then glue it in place. Non-working triggers clear the weapons check in the cons near me, so no need to make one that moves if I can't bring it in. The detail on the upper portion will be cut from some more 1/2-inch PVC pipe. The first piece is some Schedule 40 PVC pipe. Then I cut up some thin-walled Class 200 pipe and glue it over the first piece, making layers of panel lines. There is a second pipe on top. I cut a notch in the pipe and then glue it over the sintra. For the detail that goes in front of these pipes, I glue on 3 layers of 3mm sintra with panel cutouts. The first 2 make the recessed panels, and I'll cut a 3rd layer that'll frame them all in, completing the look. Okay, so I've got my core piece made. This is the primary part that I wanted to make first, which happens to be this piece. If you're actually looking at the model, this is the part that I made into cosplay scale. This is real grade, this is cosplay. I specifically wanted to make this piece out of sintra because you're gonna have to hold it, you know, and do all of your posing, whatever else, all day on this grip, on this handle. So with sintra, it's actually gonna stand up to that. It's gonna be able to be fine. The rest of the housing though, all the other parts that make up the beam rifle, all these gray parts, it's just a bag probably to the camera. I'm gonna make all of these out of what the foam. Because that's gonna be strong enough that if you happen to just set the rifle down on its barrel, or if you set it down onto the butt and lean up against the wall, the foam isn't going to deform. If I just used regular EVA foam, I just grabbed craft foam or floor mat foam and went for it, it would totally work. It'd be totally cheap. But if you were to ever set the gun down, the barrel would deform a little bit. The butt of the gun could kind of deform a little bit just because this piece has got some weight to it. It would take time, but it could happen. With what the foam, I don't think that's going to be a problem. I could be wrong. It could still do it, but I don't think so. So that's what I'm going to use. It's almost like I made it that size. All right. Most of these I'm going to make as individual pieces. This will be piece, 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 and piece, and then I'll stick it all together. But this upper housing part here, I'm going to make that next. And I'm going to make it so I can slip it just over this. That way it's easy to paint them because they'll be separate. I cut the paper pattern out and check the size on my project. Then I cut the pattern more. There are pieces that are layered and others that are on an angle. This part's going to be fun to do. Is this cut? Oh yeah, okay, good. I make the base layer from 6mm what the foam. Then the inner filler is 4mm foam with the detail panels from some red 2mm foam. The 4mm layer fits around the PVC details so that the 6mm layer can lay flat over them. The detail layers get me my panel lines. The angled top part sits over the PVC details as well. Everything is glued together with contact cement. Then I measure the size of the base that I need to make for the top. I cut my parts and glue them together to make the top portion of the main body. All I need to do is line up the side walls, and this part should slip right over the PVC grip piece. Okay, here we are. I bend over a 4mm piece for the front of this part, and I add a 2mm detail strip over the top. More panel lines. All right. I've recreated 2 pieces of the bottle now. To make the butt of the weapon, I use a truncated cone pattern maker. It also generated 6 equal lines on the pattern, which I will need for the final details. I used my Cos Tools circle cutter to make a cap for the end. The second part I made fit properly. There is a tiny bottom piece as well. Just grind the edges flat and then glue it on. I cut some rings from floor mat foam. These will be glued inside. I use a wood burner to add the inset lines. 1, 2, 3 blocks keeps the part from rolling away. The rings inside will just fit over a piece of 1-inch PVC pipe, and I glue the pipe to the grip, and I have a place to install the butt of the weapon. The main barrel is basically 3 small cones that are attached together. The muzzle itself is 2 cones joined together at the wide base, and then there's a slightly larger cone that goes behind them. I glue foam rings inside the cones again, and they will slip over a 3/4-inch PVC pipe. That'll be the bore of the barrel. The PVC pipe also fits over the tab on the front of the grip piece. Yeah, there we go. After everything is painted, I can glue them together this way. The ends of the cones have a bevel on them, which means a little more grinding. I add some thin strips of foam to the pipe. The muzzle will fit over the red rings, and the barrel will just fit over the black. Everything is still fitting correctly. I burned the lines on the ends of the muzzle. They can't be cut all the way through. The foam will flatten out and they'll no longer be round. I use a compass to draft a pattern for the connector ring. When completed, this will fit between the barrel and the main body. These pieces are cut from 4mm wet-the-foam. 2 sets of holes, one for the PVC barrel and for the smaller pipe that I have yet to attach. I add some floor mat foam on the inside. This will really help to attach the walls and will grip the PVC pipe. And then I glue the 4mm thick walls to the floor mat foam. The top is open for another part that I need to make. The gray 6mm foam is decorative. It helps make those edges thicker. Getting there. All right. I want to let this set up more, and then I can bevel the edges with the Dremel. I can do this type of a thing to all the edges, which will make this piece complete. I need to make a stabilizing fin. And the fun thing is, you're supposed to be able to turn it. So the idea is it becomes a secondary grip for the Gundam to hold on to. I get to make a part that moves. If I do 6mm sintra and 6mm foam, because the sintra is 6, right? Yeah, the sintra is 6. So if the main piece is sintra, and then I glue foam on either side in order to bulk it up, it'll be a lot easier to get the details that I want, because it's going to be 6 sintra with a layer of 4 and a layer of 2, and I'll have all the panel lines that I want with less headache. That's what I'm going to do. I cut my pattern up to get the layers of foam that I need to make the fin and all the panels that go on the fin. The fun bit was making sure that I had space for the 1/2-inch PEX pipe that I wanted to use as an axle for the fin to be able to move. It's nearly impossible to glue anything to PEX pipe. Hot glue will hold for a while, but when it does break free, well, this fin is supposed to move anyway. I make a cap piece so the PEX pipe is encased in foam. I don't want this part to fall off. With modification, the PEX pipe will fit inside of a 1/2-inch PVC pipe. I won't need to glue this connection. I mark where the 1/2-inch PVC pipe fits on the main body, but decide to just drill a hole big enough for the PEX pipe to fit in there. And I'm using a second piece of the PEX pipe to figure out sizes. I want the glue on the fin to fully cure before I start moving it around. To make the capped end on the 1/2" PVC, I also drilled out some 3/4" PVC pipe and glued everything to a sheet of sintra. When the cement sets, I can grind the extra sintra off the cap. With all the glue set, I fit the 1/2" PVC into the connector ring and the PEX pipe into the PVC. Then the tab of the main body fits into the barrel and the PEX fits into the body. After everything is painted, I can glue the barrel tab. The body housing fits over the grip piece and the butt fits over the 1" pipe on the back. It's fun that I can build this just like the tiny model. I want to grind down the top corners so the fin can freely move. Last piece I need is the offset sensor. CosTool circle cutter again for a 76mm circle, and I glue walls onto the circle. I cut a ring to be the panel that goes in the back, which is just contact cemented on. I use a sanding drum this time to make the corner bevel. I need to be careful because this removes material a lot faster than the grinding stone. I wrap 2mm foam around the outside for more panel lines. I can use 3 layers of sintra to make the post that attaches the sensor to the barrel. These will need to be cut down. And I need to make the dish that goes inside of the sensor. Now I wanted to make the dish from styrene plastic because it would be easy to paint. I heat up some styrene over the foam sensor body, then press down in the middle of the hot plastic to stretch it out. Now this worked, but it's more of a funnel than a dish, which is not the shape that I want. I thought I would try again, but press with a Christmas ornament to get the dish shape. Of course, the hot styrene melted the thin plastic of the ornament before the dish was finished. Well, that's a bummer. It killed my ball, too. As long as the styrene holds its shape. Mostly, no, it kind of did and it kind of didn't. It kind of ruined. Now, this would have worked if I had filled the ornament with water. The water would have prevented the thin plastic from melting. Oh, nuts. There's just enough ornament left that I can cut the dish from it. This plastic is a little harder to paint, but it'll work. To support the plastic dish, I glue some foam on the bottom of the sensor. Then I cut a strip of 2mm foam to make a ring that'll hold the dish in place. Before I glue the dish in, I need to attach the sintra post for the sensor. I had cut down the 3 layers to make a solid post and then glued a clip that I made from thin-walled 3/4" PVC pipe. I don't want to just glue the PVC to the foam. It needs a better solid connection, so I drill some pilot holes and run a couple of screws into the post. Now it's not going anywhere. Push the dish in place, it's a tight fit against the screw head, and then glue the strip of foam to hold the dish in place. The front edge needs a bevel as well. I superglue the dot that goes in the center of the dish, and then contact cement the nub that goes in the back of the housing. The sensor clips onto the PVC pipe that's inside the barrel, and it's able to move to the side. Now it's offset. All right, I have an offset sensor. Sweet. Okay then. And by making the offset sensor snap on that way, it's exactly the way it does on the model kit. So that's kind of fun. The whole reason I built it the way I did, where all the pieces fit together just like the model does, is for painting. At this point, I've got all the foam pieces are separate and all the ABS pieces are separate with one exception. So painting it should be very easy. I can plasti dip all the foam parts black and I can primer all the ABS pieces. I primer all the parts of the beam weapon. The grip is just white spray primer and all the foam is sprayed with black plasti dip. When that dries, everything is spray painted. The grip is the same light gray that we use for some panels in the Gundam suit. And the rest is sprayed a dark gray color, close to the backpack color. When the paint dries, I can add black panel lines in all of the parts. Even the grip gets panel lines as well. The sensor is painted a bright yellow, and some strips were glued in for the detail. The details are all painted dark gray. I use 5-minute epoxy to glue the foam parts to the PVC grip, the buttstock as well. More 5-minute epoxy for the connector ring to glue to the barrel and to the smaller pipe. When the epoxy sets, I use both PVC cement and contact cement to glue the barrel onto the grip piece. But the PEX is just pressure fit. It needs to move around. The offset sensor is still my favorite part. It just clips on and can move. Most of the materials I used are available for order and have shipped right to you. I put a list and some links in the description. So we've done 9 full videos and we've got a full Gundam suit cosplay and 3 of the major weapons, because now we've got the beam rifle, which I'm really happy about. How you feeling about this, Joe? I'm super excited. I am looking forward to when con season opens up again and we can actually take this out to a big convention and do a public debut with it. Maybe even enter it into a contest. This is, super happy. This isn't the end of big full suit builds. I think we've completed the 9 episodes we wanted to do for building a Gundam. I'm going to continue on with doing yet another full suit build that'll fit me starting the end of next month. But for now, I think we're doing pretty good. Yeah, so I know there's going to be lots of different ways that you can build a full suit costume with a full suit Gundam, but this is how Odin makes. Wait a minute.
You did a really good job with that, Odin.
Aren't you in the suit?
Of course I'm in the suit. Who else would be in the suit?
You're in the suit.
Yeah. Nice job, Joe. I don't think you can take it off.
I think I can.
No, you don't want to grab it by that because those will break.
Okay, then I will let you.
Felicia, thank you for putting this stuff on and being
Thanks
a sport.
for letting me wear it.
Oh yeah, you bet.
So the kicks.
Do the kicks. So yeah, Joe, you actually get to see somebody else in it.
Yeah, no, it's really awesome. I really enjoy it.
Other than the mask, I can't function in. I'm like, I could do the rest of this. It's the mask I can't, like.
Right, because it hits the.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's this. That's what it's hitting. I'm like,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
something that I have to go up and over and up and over.
Because the chin also hangs down.
Yes, this thing, that's not up and, okay, that makes a lot of sense, because I'm in here going, okay, I feel the mechanics, but I don't know what they are.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And we're planning on shortening the arms a little bit so that you can actually extend your arm all the way and it will actually be straight.
Right, because you see your elbow doesn't, you probably can't while you're wearing it, but your elbow bend doesn't line up with the bend of him. So we're talking about taking like a little bit out of the forearm and so everything can slide up a little better.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Or down, I suppose is a better way to put it.
I think that'll be good. And then we're going to do the same thing with the legs a little bit too. Also strengthen the knee joint so that it's not nearly as floppy.
Right.
So should be a little bit easier to move around in than it is now.
I think I could kick you in the head.
Yeah, you might be able to. I want to thank Maywin Aiden, Roy D. Spatz Jr., and all of my Patreon supporters. My Patreon support is the #1 thing that makes this show possible. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe. Have an idea for something for me to make? Please leave a comment below. And if you make any of these projects, you can send me a picture.